What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you guys about why it's important to have a side hustle and why it's also important to learn how to invest. So, what is a side hustle? A side hustle is basically you have your regular job, you're working 40 hours a week, you're doing whatever. It could be anything from a minimum wage job to a skilled position. But you, as an ambitious individual wanting to achieve financial freedom, want some extra money, right? So a side hustle could be anything from flipping games on Facebook Marketplace to buying couches and flipping those, or really anything, right? That's one side hustle. Another side hustle could just be you getting another job, right? Maybe you work 40 hours a week, and then on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you work as a server. You get some tips, right? You make an extra 200-300 a week. So that's really what a side hustle is, and it's important to have one, right? Now, I'm not trying to promote, overworking or this sort of like, I have to achieve it all the time. I can, workaholic mentality. But a lot of a lot of the time, at least in my case, like my day job is like really easy. Like I've been doing it for 3 years. I kind of know the ins and outs of it for the most part, right? So it's kind of easy. So when I get home, I feel a sense of like, hey, I need to challenge myself. I need to find a different way. I need to learn something new, right? Because whether we realize it or not, we always have to, challenge ourselves and get out of our comfort zones and learn things, right? Because that's the only way to grow, right? If you don't learn new things, then you don't expect new or better results to occur, right? It's not going to happen. So picking up a side hustle could be anything from flipping houses, right? If you're into real estate, flipping game consoles on Facebook or eBay, e-commerce, right? Things of this nature. So it's important because you have to think about it, right? If you're planning on working at your job for 40 years, then maybe this video isn't for you. But I think that a lot of you guys are very, you're aspiring to achieve more and have more freedom in your lives, right? And whether we realize it or not, right? Inflation is kicking everyone's ass, right? It's gonna continue, right? And that's just the evolution of where we're at with our monetary system, right? But you have to understand that with that being said, right, there has to be something done about it, right? Because at the end of the day, if your job isn't, you know what I mean? Like if you're not making more money with your job, year after year, then you have to figure something out because your purchasing power is going down all the time, right? I read something in an article a few days ago where they said that basically like Gen Zers who are growing up like right now have 84% less purchasing power than 20-year-olds did in the 70s, right? And that's because obviously we've been taken off the gold standard. But guys, it's not going to get better, right? So knowing that, what's the saying by Darwin? Darwin says that the species that survives is the species is the or the species that survives is the species that's able to adapt, right? So whatever climate, financial climate, whatever state the economy's in, you have to make adjustments, you have to adapt, you have to find ways to still win, right? Because at the end of the day, you can't do the same thing, right? All the time. If you don't do the same thing, you can't expect a different result. So at the end of the day, it's up to you to make that choice, right? So, like I said, there's plenty of things out there, but if you feel a sense of that, feel like a sense that life's too easy, then you have to go out and learn new things. You have to try new things, right? So picking up a side hustle is a must. And then on top of that, I'm going to talk about investing. You have to have your money working for you at all times, right? So if you work your job, right, and you have an extra $500, to invest, right, put it in an interest account or buy some stocks, right? Buy some ETFs, index funds that are safe, that are, yielding good dividends for the long term, right? But basically what I'm trying to say is you can't rely on one source of income, right? your company looks at you as an operation, as a just a utility, right? They don't look at, since they have so many employees, right? Big corporations, since they have so many employees, they just look at you as someone we have to pay, the bare minimum so they can eat, so they can put food on their table. But they're not thinking about helping you become a self-made millionaire, or helping you achieve financial freedom, or helping you, become, reach your full potential. They don't give a shit about that. They care about their bottom line and how they're going to use you to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? As a business, right? If you were a business owner, you'd probably look at people the same way. But I'm just letting you know that life that you're gonna live, if you follow that path forever, right? I'm not saying you can't work a job for 5 to 10 to 15 years, and then while you're working that job on your weekends, or when you have time off, you're investing, you're making plays here, you're making plays there. But the mentality can't be, oh, I'm just gonna stick with this job, save my way to becoming rich, and somehow live a good life. It's not gonna happen, right? You're gonna have to make sacrifices. You're gonna have to hustle when you get home, right? There's times where I don't want to upload a video, or I don't want to go make that sale. I don't want to go sell that Xbox, or I don't want to watch this YouTube video on stocks or crypto. But at the end of the day, I realize that if I don't do that, I'm fucked. Like, I'm seriously going to be fucked, because like I said, with AI coming out, and a lot of jobs here soon are not going to be existent, right? And people don't realize that. I'll take another example. So right now, I live in Florida, and my job right now, they're cutting hours because, for just the regular employees, because it's not as busy as it was, from October all the way to basically like April, right? So some of my employees that I work with that were getting, like a full 40-hour week, are only getting like between 20 and 30 hours now. And what I'm thinking is like, damn, like the corporate motherfuckers really don't care about you guys, because it's like, you can't live off that. It's literally mathematically impossible to live off 20 or 30 hours of work, right? I mean, unless you're doing something that pays a crazy amount, but these are just regular fucking people, right? So no one cares. Like, what I'm trying to say, the moral of the story here is, big corporations, people in high positions in corporations that do a lot of the work on the computer, and do a lot of the marketing, and do a lot of the budgeting, and all of this cool stuff, they are looking at you as a cog in a machine, right? And like I said, it's basically, I'm not saying it's slavery, because you don't have to work there, but it's like a subtle form of slavery. So you have to realize that the first step of breaking out of slavery is realizing that you're a slave, right? So you have to realize that if you lose your job, if they cut your hours, or if they fire you, and you don't have any other way to make money, any other hunting skills, right? Like, let's say you can shoot a gun, but you don't know how to use a bow and arrow. Well, what happens if the gun doesn't work? You don't know how to use the bow and arrow, or you haven't practiced with it, so you're not good with it. So now when the deer comes, and you've been used to using a 9mm or a rifle, you're fucked, because you haven't been using the bow and arrow. You have no idea how to use it, right? So what I'm trying to say is, metaphorically speaking, obviously that's a metaphor, but you have to really learn different skills, different hunting skills, different ways to create resources, right? Because at the end of the day, especially as a man, right? A lot of you guys are men who watch my channel. You are valued based on what you can do, what you can provide. So the man that has 10 abilities, 10 skills, right? Versus the guy who has 1 or 2, the one who has 10 is going to win all the time, because he may have 3 things that fail, or 4 things that fail, but he's got another 6 things that he already knows how to do as well. So what I'm trying to say is, you have to figure out different ways to make adjustments, because like I said, your job is never secure. This whole mentality, or stereotype, or just way of viewing like work and career and retirement, that somehow you're just gonna start working at 20, you're gonna have a 401k contribution, You're gonna have your health benefits and your insurance and all that, and your 401k is gonna take care of you, and then you'll get your Social Security when you're 60. It's like, hey, listen, a lot's gonna change in 30 years. Are you sure 401ks are still gonna be out? Are you sure they're gonna still be paying out Social Security? Do you want your life to be in the hands of someone else paying you? Do you want your life to be in the hands of a corporation paying you? Do you want your life to be in the hands of a government giving you a check every month because of your age, because you're 62 and you can't work anymore? No, fuck that. That's dependency. That's how they make slaves. Slaves are created by dependency because they know that people don't have the ability to go out and figure stuff out on their own. So by knowing that, they know that you need them more than they need you. Right? So with that sort of leverage power mentality that they have, of course they're gonna force you to be dependent on them. Right? So the moral of the story here is, if you're working a job, it's okay, right? Especially if you're young, you're any age, I guess, below 30. I'm not saying you can't bounce back after 30, but if, as long as you're working and you're saving enough money at the end of each month to compound and save, and then eventually use to invest or learn a skill, you're gonna be all right. But I want you guys to get in that mindset of like, hey, let me learn something on the side, because at the end of the day, if you don't, then your life is gonna look really, really bad in the coming, 10 to 20 years, right? So people have no idea how bad shit's gonna get, right? If you think people are poor now, just wait 10 years from now when AI's in the game, taking jobs away, and people have no skills. People don't have any way to make money, right? So I'm not trying to create like a fear-mongering vibe here, but I'm really just trying to promote open-mindedness and a willingness to learn and step out on faith and get out of your comfort zone, really, right? So yeah, guys, that's why you need to learn a side hustle. That's why you need to learn how to invest. And if your job says, hey, we don't need you anymore, you'll be all right, because hey, guess what? I know how to do 2 to 3 different things outside of you guys. So hey, guess what? Go ahead and fire me. Go ahead and fire me for getting in an argument with an employer or whatever, right? You know how companies are. Or go ahead and cut my hours because your revenue's down for these next 3 months, right? So get in the mindset of really controlling the way your life goes. The more people say, I read a book by Brian Tracy in Maximum Achievement. He said that 98% of people's happiness is dependent upon the amount of control they feel they have over their lives. Really take that in, right? When you have full control of your life, or 95 to 100% control of your life, you feel good about it, right? Because it's like, hey, I'm making things happen, right? I'm not dependent on anyone else, right? Being an adult, what I'm starting to learn as I get, older, is really about being self-sufficient, being independent, right? Now, I'm not saying that you're not going to need mentors or people to help you along the way, but what I'm trying to say is the whole mindset of I'm just going to cruise and chill at this job forever and be okay is not a good mentality. And you're just, like I said, I mean, you might make some money here and there, but the whole trajectory of your life is just going to be mediocrity, right? And it's going to be average, and you're not going to feel that sense of like, wow, my life is amazing, right? So yeah, guys, that's it. That's all. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you are new to my channel, please make sure to subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, feel free to leave it down below. And as always, I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.